In 2004, a legend was born.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
We never expected it to have made as big an impact as this film did, and the franchise that it eventually spawned. And so we are as surprised as everyone else have been, but very grateful for what it has done for us.
Yeah, everything with Saw was basically a bonus prize. Like, when we first conceived the idea, we were like, okay, we'll make a film, nobody will see it, but it'll be like a really expensive demo reel, and from that we'll get our next film. So then it was a bonus prize when it got released, and we're like, oh cool, it's going to get released, it'll come out in video stores.
Well, first the bonus prize was, wait, they're producers that want to make this movie with us?
I mean, everything. The fact that it was going to come out in video was a bonus prize, but it didn't come out on video, it came out of the movies, and we were like, great, it'll come out, no one will see it, but at least we have a film in theaters. And like, the bonus prizes just kept coming. Like, we were basically like two people who went out for a jog one day and ended up winning the Boston Marathon. And we're getting medals pinned on us, and everyone's like, how long did you train for? And we were like, we live over here. We didn't actually enter this race. It was just one big, huge bonus prize.
Now, 10 years later, the original Saw returns to the big screen.
He doesn't want us to cut through our chains. He wants us to cut through our feet.
You asked if we would have set it up differently. There was, for me, the most important things in these films are some of the concepts that Lee and James introduced in the first film. And they're little seeds that we tried to grow as
that
time went on and fill out. For example, the treatment of the terminally ill, and in the medical community, and there are things that keep coming up in various forms, and so I think that lots of the things that were growing in number one were successfully and artfully expanded as an undercurrent as the series progressed.
So in a sense, you choose who lives or dies.
No, I'd say I decide which people have the potential to live long, healthy lives.
But you're not taking into consideration the most important human element of all.
Which is what?
The will to live.
Appreciating your blessings continues throughout the series. And when contrasted with some of the intense trappings that go on in a Saw film, I think it heightens the viewer's focus on that sort of concept. And I've been told by lots of people who see these films that the concepts that James and Lee introduced and that were borne out have had an effect on them and on their lives. And some of these people were 9 years old, or who had seen the film, or 12, or I say, what did you like about the film? Well, you're the guy. And I say, well, yeah. And they say, we love those films. I say, well, what do you love about them? And we're standing on a baseball field, and they're, all, and they say, though, they teach you stuff. And I say, like what? And they say,
how to remove someone's fingernails with just a pair of pliers.
Exactly. So not to make them into some philosophical wonderkind, but those are the things that many people talk about with these films.
You are, in fact, a drug addict. Isn't that right, Mandy? Do you think that is why he picked you? Are you grateful, Mandy?
helped me. I might not have said, let's all die.
Ditto.
No, like you couldn't read.
Do you remember how sick you were the day we shot that?
The first day.
The first day she came, we were almost.
I was acting.
Yeah, she was so sick that literally almost sent her home. We didn't know what to do.
Police scene or
the scene with
trap
me.
scene?
The reverse bear trap scene. She was so ill. They were like almost basically pumping fluids in her.
I was ill enough to not mind that big
the real one.
The functional contraption on my head.
I remembered how much of a trooper Shoni was because I had her doing a lot of shaking and trembling and convulsing in that massively heavy bear trap, and then to find out later that she was actually not feeling well either just made my respect for her just jump even higher.
I woke up. All I could taste was blood and metal.
Yeah, of course we had pipe dreams about it, spawning sequels, but we never actually entertained the idea of sequel storyline in our head. We weren't quite sure what direction it would go, besides continuing with the story of Jigsaw, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the ending had a lot of finality to it. Like a lot of people over the years have said, oh, you really left the door open for a sequel there. And we were like, no, we didn't. We shut the door, literally and figuratively.
Well, you said game, you wrote game over, not franchise over.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like he was like, game over and shut the door and then opened it again and was like, but I may be back. You never know. Like, to us, it had a lot of finality to it, and we just thought it was a great ending to a film. And at the time, we were really, obsessed with these twist endings, films like The Usual Suspects. And you can imagine if The Usual Suspects had made $100 million at the box office, people would be like, oh, wow, that ending is so open because he just walks away and he gets away with it. Sorry, people who haven't seen The Usual Suspects. It's a room full of film bloggers. I'm going to assume you've all seen it. Turns out Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze. And when he walks away at the end, like to us, that's like a great final ending. Like the guy walks away. But I guess you could look at that the same way people are looking at Saw and like, well, let's pick up the story and find out what happened with him. Where did he go when he got in that car? So I guess at the time, that's how we looked at it, as a kind of Usual Suspects ending where the bad guy gets away with it. But never thought of a sequel.
Well, I don't think if we were actually really thinking sequels, we'd have our lead character have terminal cancer either.
Well, I was just going to say before, somebody asked, if you had a time machine, I think that was you, Fred. I'm sure Tobin, if he had a time machine, would go straight back and be like, maybe he doesn't have cancer. Yeah. What if he's healthy? Then he would go back and kill Hitler,
just an appendicitis.
First, I remember Oren had to go home. We had a drink. He was so overwhelmed he had to go home.
So what happened is, and this is complete respect to someone that worked here, but they told us they thought the movie was going to do 6 to 8 for the weekend. And at the time, previous to that, I'd made a movie for Sony and kind of befriended Jeff Blake, whoever, I think he was the chairman or head of distribution, or his title was there. So Mark and I, we were all driving down Wilshire to go into
Westwood
to see the two big theaters and see, because they were saying they were actually adding a midnight. They actually didn't have it scheduled, and they added a midnight. And Jeff Blake called me and said, wow, you hit a home run. And I didn't even know he had my cell number. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, well, we thought 6 to 8 for the weekend is what Lionsgate had originally told us. And Jeff Blake said, I think you guys can do 18 to 20 for the weekend. And we were literally, so we went to watched them reload up the theater, and they were all going out. I couldn't take it. I got in a cab, went home. I just was so stunned. Also, the UK really helped. I mean, we opened a month earlier in the UK, which some people know and don't know, and we did $12 million in the UK, which is not the biggest territory. And to do $12 million before a US release was unheard of. And I think it really gave Lionsgate some push and some confidence to really give us a good go. And it gave the theater owners a chance, also, a good push to open the theater, give us more screens. Because at the beginning, we were talking about 600-700 screens. And it just, that week, they kept adding more screens and more screens and more screens.
Only in theaters. Only 1 week.
He helped me.
If it's Halloween, it must be Saw.
Live or die. Make your choice.
In theaters starting 10 p.m. Thursday, October 30th.